Well, I don't think she has the qualifications for the job. And while we're on the subject, I don't
Now, this is Bolton, and he's talking about Tulsi Gabbard.
think Matt Gaetz does either.
So he's like, neither one of them have any qualifications.
I listened to Senator Haggerty's comments, and I respect him. But even if everything he said about the Justice Department was true, let's just assume that for the sake of argument, that's not the issue. The issue is Matt Gaetz, and the issue for Director of National Intelligence is Tulsi Gabbard. She doesn't have any experience in intelligence matters.
When they say these kind of things, notice they give this edict, this huge edict, and they say, oh, you're not qualified. You don't have any experience. Hey, Mr. Bolton, I have a question. What experience do you need to be president? I'm sorry. I'm waiting. You know, the president who oversees all this stuff, what experience do you need to be president? Because I can remember this black guy ran for president, and he was a community organizer, and then he was a local senator, and then all of a sudden this black guy was president for 2 terms. Nobody seemed to mind that this black man named Obama was president and had no experience. What experience did Kamala have? Well, she was vice president, which she has already said it means nothing. But you didn't have a problem with her running to be president. Sorry. Oh, what experience do you need to have be vice president? Because we saw Tim Walz. I don't recall him going on MSNBC or any of these other shows to talk about, what it's like to have horse milkshakes.
She has demonstrated repeatedly that she doesn't understand international affairs. She has been quoted as saying that effectively Putin was justified in having Russia invade Ukraine because there were secret American biological weapons laboratories in Ukraine. I mean, this is fantasy land.
I think Victoria Nuland said that. I'm pretty sure one of your deep state actors actually got questioned by said Matt Gaetz, who admitted there were, undercover things going on in that country. So what you're saying and what you're going to continue to see here is people don't have any ability to discern how someone's unqualified. They consider a difference of opinion, a difference in perspective that makes you unqualified. She didn't believe this and this and this about the conflict over with Zelensky. That makes her unqualified. She didn't even understand what was going on. No, she had an opinion. We all have opinions. Doesn't make someone unqualified. You're not stating anything that tells anybody. And the reason why I'm showing this stuff to you is because as you see over the next couple of weeks, months, where people just, unqualified. He's unqualified. You let me know when you hear people say what those qualifications should be. You see, that's the problem. They run to the media. They vomit all over the air. They tell you their opinion, but they never tell you the facts. What exactly makes her unqualified? Wholly unqualified, as he said. Tell us specifically. I would respect these people on television much more if, one, they didn't bring out a war hawk who wants to blow up the world in John Bolton. Everybody knows that. There's not a war he doesn't like. So besides that, because again, that's my opinion, John, Mr. Bolton, can you tell us specifically how this woman is not qualified?
And stuff. I think the answer here, that the nomination's clearly going to be made. It is customary for every senior nominee of a president to have a full-field FBI background investigation, particularly in sensitive national security and law enforcement matters. Those investigations could begin now in a smooth transition where the...
Okay, Mr. Bolton, if I was on television and I had Mr. Bolton as a guest, Mr. Bolton, you just said something that's very interesting to me. You said it's customary to do this and this and this. I just heard you say that. Is that true? Yeah. Is there a regulation? Is there a law that says you have to do this and do this before you hire somebody to work in your administration? Please, do quote me the statute. I'd love to hear it. And when he continues vomiting and getting pissed off and probably ripping off his microphone, dude, I just asked you a question. You said it's customary. It's customary for me to pull my chair out, Robin's chair out when she's getting ready to sit down for dinner. It's customary. If she comes into the restaurant and the maitre d' says, hey, here's your table, it's customary for me to tell the maitre d', let me get that. Hi, honey, go ahead and push your chair back in. It's not required. Well, it's kind of required because it would be a long night. But in any event, when we're going to the car, it's customary for me to open the door for her. Don't have to. Won't have a happy life. But I don't have to. There's no law. Tell me the law that says that you have to do what you just said is customary. This is why these people are losing to online news. Because they don't do anything. They're told, shut up. Let him talk for minutes at a time, and thank you for showing up today. Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm here to hurt Trump. That's it. That's the function he's filling at this point.
The incoming president has beginning to announce his senior appointees, Secretary of State, and so on. The outgoing administration can let the FBI loose to do the investigation. And the way the FBI starts its interviews off is Mr. Johns.
You hear it again? People say to me, Barry, why do you stop people so often? Because there's an important point that has to be made. He again said, it's customary for the FBI. Customary. So you want Joe Biden to order, resumes on all these people. Because it's customary. Is it mandatory? Is there a law? And just listen. I'm trying to show you guys, listen closely to what people say. And as they say it, you can extract the information to know they're full of shit. Excuse my language. But unless you learn to listen, and I'm not saying that you don't, but unless you have that ability to discern, not look away, check your phone, because that's what they count on. And so he's now said she's not qualified, and it's also customary for the FBI to do this, but is it required? Is it mandatory? Is there a law?
Smith is being considered for a senior government job, and I'd like to speak to you about him. That can happen now. Those interviews, including full field investigations for Tulsi Gabbard and Matt Gaetz, could be done basically by January 1. Senate committees can hold hearings before the 20th of January. Bill mentioned that he had been held up. So was I. I got a recess appointment. I know how this works. I was held up by the Democrats, too.
Wait, you know how it works? So if you know how it works, why don't you explain it to your Democrat friends? You yourself, which is why I included this, you yourself just admitted, think about that. Oh, I was a recess appointment and I was being held up by the Democrats. So you've just proven Trump's point. Again, the person he's talking to on television never said that. Hey, slow down. Back up, Johnny. Johnny, how did you get appointed? Oh, I was pushed through by a recess appointment. All right, John, tell us what a recess appointment is. Who can do recess appointments? When can it be used? How does it work? Can you delve into that? Because I would have taken that interview a whole different way. Oh, stop, Johnny, boy. Let's stop talking about what you have a feeling about Gaetz and Tulsi. I'd love to know more, since you're probably the first person I've talked to who's actually been a recess appointment. I don't even know if there's other people walking around, but since you're right here, let's talk about it. How did it work? Crickets. They just let him say that, and he didn't say anything.
The difference now is Republicans control the Senate, so they can control the timing of the hearings. And like many other presidents, from Ronald Reagan to George W. Bush, the bulk of the cabinet, if they're qualified and are of good character, could be confirmed on or a few days after the 20th of January.
Again, of good character? What, do I have to be a Boy Scout? Did I have to like plant flowers around the house with my mom? Did I have to buy my prom date a boot? What do you call those things that they stick the flowers in? Did I have to do that? Tell me what of good character means. Oh, you mean not like the guy who's president who slept with porn stars? Oh, stupid. I should have known. He doesn't have the character to be president, so he can't have the character to appoint other people who might have done some things in their lives. Hey, Johnny, let me ask you a question. Can we see your file? No, your file. Can we see the file of shit they dug up on you that no one can see right now? Since you just said people have to be of good character, I don't know anything about you. American didn't know anything about you. How do I know this? Because you were a recess appointment. So, how about you do the shit that you said you want other people to go through? Let's take a microscope and rub it up your butt and see what's in it, the deep recesses of John Bolton. Because that's customary. And it's secret, right? Oh no, it's not secret, because we're about to find out they're going to release a report on Matt Gaetz. So in other words, you can't trust the government as it is right now to maintain secrecy. In fact, they are actually calling for Matt Gaetz's report to be leaked. Leaked? You mean there's not someone in the Justice Department or House or Senate right now who has this stuff under lock and key to make sure it doesn't get leaked? And it can happen at any time? Oh, it's just hot off the presses, I got this report on Matt Gaetz. And oh boy, is it salacious. It's got some juicy stuff in it. And the person reading the report and telling you about it doesn't have one on them. I mean, how many of us would love to have a magnifying glass rubbed up our sphincter and looked at every single spot? Other than Donald Trump, I don't know anyone in Congress or Senate who has. You want it done to others, but you don't want it done to you. These people are full of it. They are absolutely full of it.
So there's no argument here yet that the Democrats have obstructed anybody. I'm sure they'll try, but that's what a Republican majority is all about. Let's get the FBI investigation, then let's talk about Tulsi Gabbard and Matt Gaetz. I can't wait.
I believe that the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, under the Presidential Transition Act, has to be signed by the president-elect, and he's not done that yet. I know he hasn't done that broadly and not with the State Department. People can talk to each other, but I don't think they can launch these investigations for clearances.
Sure they can. Look, don't be formalistic about this.
Don't be formalistic. We can get around that. Oh, okay. Tell us more, Mr. Recess.
President-elect Trump wants an expedited consideration of his
No, I'm
nominee.
saying he needs to trigger it.
He doesn't need to look. He can ask the president, and the president can do that. It's been done informally for decades. When there really was cooperation and transitions. They don't want the full field investigations. Let's be clear on that.
Said the guy who didn't go through a full field investigation. You catching this stuff?
I think this is a case where I hope Republicans en masse vote against these two nominees. Because they will be embarrassed in history if these people are confirmed and perform the way it is perfectly predictable they will perform.
They're going to be embarrassed in history. Oh my God, the grandiose of most grandiose statements. You are a soothsayer. You can see. You've got a giant crystal ball. And you're like, they're going to be the worst in history. Come on, man. You expect the American people to fall for that after what we've lived through? After what we lived through with Biden and what we lived through with Obama and George Bush and George Bush #1? You expect us to just all of a sudden think that Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, and Matt Gaetz are going to be the worst in history?